Yes. Hopefully it doesn't kick me out because it's done that before when I started a live.
Hi.
I don't know if we are. Okay.
Hello.
We are live.
Are we?
Yeah.
It
My
says
phone
0
says
people watching.
My phone says live.
Okay. I mean, I hope if you're here, let us know. Okay, there we go. Now it popped up. Because on my screen, I can see how many people are watching. And it
nice.
just said 0. So, okay. There should be people here.
Nobody was
Hello. Sorry, we
interested.
had some technical difficulties, so we are a little late, but
It
we
was
are
me.
here.
It wasn't technology. It was me again. So
It's okay.
I'm the problem.
Oh, good. We have people here. Hello.
Hi, Tarah fans. Soon to be Tarah fans.
Hannah.
Hannah!
We still have to read.
Hannah.
She's so funny.
I know she is.
All right, well, we are here with Tarah, and we are super excited to chat all about your books and your writing. I didn't prep this for you, but I always start these live shows by asking what our favorite book of yours is, and then you have to answer that question too. So I know that's a bit of a difficult one to answer. But I'll let Caitlin go first.
Okay.
It should not surprise you that Funny Feelings is my favorite. I love Meyer and Farley so much.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're hard not to love.
Hey, I fell in love with them instantly.
Yep, definitely. So I'm supposed to pick from my favorites.
Mm-hmm. If you have one.
Well, I think it's I've talked about this with other writers before, and I think that usually the one that you're fresh off of, they're kind of your favorite. And I will say that one, that the co-op took kind of the most out of me emotionally. So writing Funny Feelings was the most fun I've ever had writing something. It was fun doing all the research, watching just hours and hours and hours of stand-up. And they were just fun and nice to write. But yeah, Deacon and Loren have a special place in my heart just because they had to earn it. And it was a challenge, but I really enjoyed writing them. When at the end, I really enjoyed writing them. When we got there, when they finally did, start behaving and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It took them a while.
It did. Took them a minute. But that's, that's people too. Sometimes not everybody's smart about how they handle things and, emotionally well-adjusted.
Very true. And I will say, like, I have these two because thank you sent them to me, but these two are very different romances, like super different vibes, super different tropes, characters. So do you plan on writing? Well, and I will say Funny Feelings is my favorite, but that shouldn't be a surprise. I just love it so much. I haven't read Rootbound, so I don't know the tropes of those. That's your first one. Do you plan on writing like super different romances as you go along? I know you only have 3.
Yeah, I definitely think that at the end of the day, there's always I don't know that I'll be as compelled and as into it if I was trying to repeat all the things that were successful for me every time. I kind of like to push myself a little bit. And so I don't know that I do want to write different things. I like the idea of, it's whatever story happens though, whatever story is like talking to you. I have an idea I have one thing that I'm working on that has like, if you were to reduce it down to tropes, and there's like a single parent element to it. There's a friends to lovers element to it. There's a fake relationship element to it. So on paper, those things sound similar to Funny Feelings, but they couldn't be more different. So yeah, that I'm trying to, tread carefully on what I say, but
it's fine.
Yeah. All the details.
I was like, maybe I was gonna I started getting, panicked for time, and then good thing I did a little bit because I took 10 minutes to figure out how to do this. But I was gonna make myself like a tea, and then I was like, let's just put a little whiskey in it so I don't, for my voice and everything. And then I was like, nope, I'll just go yammering on about everything I ever, have planned, I guess.
I love it when the author starts telling secrets they're not supposed to. It's fun.
I'm the worst about it. So
But I think the variety is good though, because
I do have a question from someone else.
Oh.
Am I still here?
Which of my books is best to start with? I mean, they're all standalones, but I guess, even in Funny Feelings, there's a tiny little Easter egg for Rootbound in it. But it depends on what you're in the mood to read. Rootbound is very different, again, completely different from the other two. I think it's a little less romance based, and just because there's some family reconciliation that has to happen in that. So if you're kind of in the mood for that sort of thing, go that direction. If you want something that is just fun to read from page one, Funny Feelings. If you want something that makes you like kind of pulls at your heartstrings a little bit more with the angst and all that, then go with the co-op.
Okay. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. It kicked me out.
Oh no.
That is so frustrating. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. So you said co-op.
Well, yeah, if you want, it depends on what you're in the mood to read. I think that you'll catch the references that are in the co-op from, to Funny Feelings, and I think that that's fun. So I would say Funny Feelings probably first, but they are very different. So I think it's hard because even I do that. Sometimes I step into, a go-to author's book and I expect a certain pace, or I expect a certain flow of things, or how, just how quickly it jumps off or how slowly it jumps off and builds. And when it is different, sometimes it takes you a minute to like step into it all the way. But yeah, I like when there's some variety.
And so how would you describe Rootbound then? Because that's one I haven't read.
I would say, that's my little tribute to cowboy romance. That's my contribution.
Henry.
Yep. Rootbound was my 2020 like fever dream, like what I would, would have loved to escape to a Idaho ranch, big wide open spaces, because I was sick of being in my house and looking at the same people all the time. But oh, not you. But it's definitely more, I think it's probably a little lighter on the romance, and because there is so much family reconciliation that has to happen in that one. But Henry's a joy.
He's such a cinnamon roll.
He is. Big cinnamon roll.
I love that.
Yeah.
Someone said the co-op is for August Girls from Taylor Swift.
Yeah, big time. That makes perfect sense.
I actually loved how different the co-op was from Funny Feelings. And I think it's cool when authors do like a variety, because sometimes people come to like a new author and they get overwhelmed when there's like series and they're like, oh my gosh, do I have to read them in order, or do I have to read all of them? And like you said, depending on what you're in the mood for, you could literally start with any 3 of your books and just pick something up. Because I think all across the board, like your writing is just like amazing. But it's just a matter of what tropes are you looking to read? Like, do you want marriage of convenience? Do you want to laugh? Do you want Yellowstone vibes?
Yes, what exactly. Are you in your Yellowstone phase? Then then try Rootbound out. But definitely. I when I first started writing, I thought I would set out to write series just because it would be nice to stay in the same world for a while and, hang out with the characters and all that. And it just never happens for me. I have too many other things that end up popping into my head that I have to, that's a life as an ADHD girly, I guess.
I still think it's fun though that you keep it in the same universe though. So like they all still exist.
Yeah. It's for me, I'm not, I'm not like that mentally ill, but like they do exist for me in a way. Like I like to imagine them all out in the world together and possibly crossing paths or, just having little things that connect them, which makes me really excited for what I get to send out this month. But anyway, that's the only, thing that, I'm gonna shut up about. But I just wrapped it up today, and I can't wait to share more about that.
Okay.
Yep. That was very vague and weird, but I am excited.
So are we supposed to know what this is, or it really is a secret?
No, you're not. It's just, and I haven't really told anybody about it. It's just a cute thing I'm going to send out that to everybody.
I did love Loren. I know this is weird to say, but I loved how tall she was. Because we never get the tall girlies in the romance books. We don't get the tall girls. And I love it.
And I want to be tall. I wish I was tall. My favorite compliment that I've ever received, I think, was that, and it was Hannah who said it. She was like, I thought you were 5'9", 5'10". Like, no. And for somebody to say that I have tall girl energy is like, oh, thank you. I'm really short. So
that's so funny.
I love that. And it just suits her too. Like she takes up space even and like kind of commands the space even if she doesn't want to. And so, and she's never kind of been allowed to like be herself unapologetically. And so, she's had to learn to just be okay. And see, Hannah says, sorry, you're at least 5'10", and I refuse to believe otherwise. She's going to be blown away when I'm 5'4" in person.
That's how tall I am, so.
Yeah. I'm 5'8".
Okay, then I have some 6
I'm jealous. My sister is 5'9", 5'8", 5'9", and I never got to have like a tall phase, so.
Did anyone inspire her character for you?
Oh gosh, no. I do get really, really happy when I've seen certain people say like this one's for the Nesta girls and that kind of stuff, because I remember reading that character for the first time and being like, oh my God. Like at first or for me, my experience coming to that character was like, at first you hate her a little bit and you're like so frustrated with her, and then all of a sudden you go like look in the mirror and go, oh my God, she's me. And if I'm being honest with myself, and so that I would say like it's more of just like that type of character. It was important to me to write somebody that wasn't necessarily easily likable, but somebody appreciated that about her, like appreciated that she was worth getting to know and all her good parts on the inside. So that always sounds weird to say, but yeah.
She was very relatable.
Yeah.
She was very relatable.
For me, she was too. There was one other question I saw pop up and I forget what it was.
Let us see.
Someone asked where they could read Funny Feelings, which someone answered. It's on KU.
It's on KU, yeah. Somebody asked me to look into Fable, and I do have that on my list to look into, but I've never done anything with that before, so I don't know what it is.
Speaking of book apps, how's the audio going?
Oh,
good. I know. I can't wait. Funny Feelings comes out this month now, 12/27.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that's exciting.
So
You know
as
the
soon as
narrator?
it should be available on NetGalley and stuff like that soon too. So I'm keeping an eye on it. They're supposed to let me know.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. I can't wait to listen to it again.
I know. It's gonna be so weird, but I'm so excited.
Do you know who the narrators are for
I do.
the Okay.
I
Have
do.
you shared them yet? Or are you allowed
Yeah,
to?
Nelson Hobbs and Stephanie Bentley. Nelson narrated the Bergman Brothers books.
Oh, okay. I listened to a lot of
Yay!
those.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yay!
That's super
And Stephanie to
exciting.
me was just one that I listened to, and she sounded to me like V. So
Oh my gosh.
I was excited when she could do it.
That's so exciting because all my friends keep like, so a lot of my friends like only listen to audio. So like they keep
Mhm.
listening to me talk about funny feelings and they're so mad they can't read it yet. And I'm just like, I'm sorry.
I never thought I would be such an audiobook girl, but
Me too.
it's like I don't want to listen to my own thoughts if I'm not
Right?
I'm not listening to music or writing or something else. I want to be immersed in the book.
Same. Jessica knows I'm new to the audiobook
I was
world.
gonna say, Caitlin's like a new convert to audiobook
I-
listening, and we
I'm
are
here.
here for it. So
Oh yes.
we
I'm
a
not
lot of
also just when it comes to a book that I really like, I suddenly get super financially irresponsible. So if I'm reading it, but I have to go somewhere, I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I'll use my Audible credit this month on this, even though I have it on my Kindle or have it a physical copy of it.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's okay. I'm really enjoying it. And I have to continue with it every moment of every day. I saw somebody asked if you could get the OG
Oh yes.
cover of Rootbound Anywhere. I do not know. I need to figure out on because I have had a few people ask. I need to figure out if I can put it back up on KDP just to as an option
Mhm.
for a limited time. It's the listing for it on there is it was unpublished, so I don't know. But
Oh, okay.
I do have it on my list of things to figure out.
So you obviously like to read, and I'm assuming you read Sarah J. Maas then if you're talking about Nesta.
Yeah.
Who are your other favorite authors to read then?
Oh gosh. I mean, I love the indie community now that I'm part of. So, tons of ones that you've I'm sure already heard of, and everybody Hannah's, my number one girl. I like BK Borison's books, and right now you'll see Love Light everywhere because of Christmas.
Mhm.
I'm gonna cough here. But then Elizabeth O'Rourke, I discovered her books this year, and I've loved every single one that I've read. I recently really enjoyed Part of Your World. I enjoyed it on audiobook. For some reason every time I
Yes.
sat down to physically read that book, even though I do have the book of the month copy, I kept getting distracted, but I loved it on audiobook. And I read Yours Truly, an arc of Yours Truly. Loved it even more. I can't wait for people to, I loved it. I want to shrink Jacob down and put him in my pocket and carry him everywhere with me. I love a little bit of everybody. I mean, huge Emily Henry fan. Every single one of her books that I read, I just fall victim to every single time.
Mhm.
So
This audio was amazing though for Part of Your World. I really liked it.
I'm on hold to get it, but the wait at my library is 3 months.
Oh.
yeah.
It'll be a while.
She's a little popular, so
It'll be a while. It'll be a
hard to
while.
get the audio.
Yes, but she's worth the wait.
Yes.
Zach Weber in that is like to die for.
Mhm. Mhm. So you started first. I mean, you published in 2020, right? Your first book. You started writing in 2020, or
No,
both?
I wrote it in 2020. I published my first book November 5th last year, 2021.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Wow. What made you I mean, I know a lot of authors started writing like during COVID, but like what made you want to start writing? Have you always written? Like, how did your author journey start?
Well, I kind of didn't realize that I had always written, or at least like always been thinking about stories. When I won some silly contest when I was in elementary school at like a local Rotary Club for a mystery, but I don't plan to break into mystery anytime soon. But it was a little short story, and I really felt like I won like an Oscar. I prepared a speech, and which I didn't ever get to deliver, but I remember just how cool that felt. But I never really thought it was something achievable, and so I just never considered it for myself until I started doing it. I read like a maniac during 2020. And 2020 is the first year I actually read contemporary. I never was into contemporary before that. But I got sick of romantasy in 2020 and like world-ending disasters because I felt like that was my reality. And so I wanted to read something that made me laugh. And I felt like I read everything. I read every Christina Lauren. Obviously, I read Beach Read, and I believe I read People We Made on Vacation that year too. I read every single like author I could get my hands on. Samantha Young. I read every contemporary I could, but in Tessa Bailey. And so then I just kind of had this idea where I felt like I'd read everything and I wanted to write the thing that I wanted to read. And so I did it, and then I let it sit forever because I was like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with this. And I had some drinks at a friend's giving, got brave, showed my friends, and they were like, well, you have to put this out. And I especially had one friend who had a Bookstagram account and who told me, helped me a lot and told me that I should look into the self-publish option and all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, thank you to that friend.
Awesome.
Yeah. I do thank her all the time.
Was it scary trying to self-publish and just like figuring everything out, or do you think that it was pretty easy to get into self-publishing?
I mean, it was definitely scary. I knew nothing even about the traditionally published process. I knew nothing about like what querying was. I didn't know anything about like, trying to get an agent or any of that. So when I started looking into that process, assuming that was kind of the only way those things got done, I was like, cool. If I get one rejection, I will never, ever do this. So I'm just not going to do it. And I know myself better than that. And so then when I found out about the KDP option and everything, it was a lot more intriguing. And I was like, I just want to get it out there and just have people that don't know me and have no personal investment in me. I just want to find out if this is any good or not. Because you think if you read a lot of books and what's good and what kind of meshes with your brain and everything, so you think but you don't know how other people are going to absorb it. If they're reading it in the way you intend it, that same cadence, and if they think you're funny or not, and if they can picture what you're trying to describe or not, you never know. So yeah, but I'm glad I did.
Do you think your writing changed at all since your first book then? I mean, because I'm assuming you wrote it with
it's weird because in a certain way I have a certain way of saying things and a vernacular, and I cannot help myself from making jokes because that's when I slip through a lot, like I can't stop myself because that's how I would address the situation. And So you can't always help that. My voice hasn't changed in that aspect, but lots of little things that you improve on over time. I realized, you know, you don't repeat the same version of the same word in the same sentence. Don't, how to make language more impactful is to change it up and to not have things be repetitive. Little things like that you get better at, that make you don't realize how much they affect a story, but they do.
Kelly asked, you're going to promote more on your TikTok.
I would like to. I have ideas all the time. And then I think, oh my God, I almost just said I'm 32, but I'm 34. That just we're lost 2 years there. Yeah, I'm like, I'm 34. What am I? I'm not gonna dance to, you know, with my books, but I do have funny ideas. So I don't know. I would like to.
Mhm.
But I need to learn how to, you know, do basic internet functions apparently. So hang on one second. I gotta move my dog.
Doggies. We love
Gotta always
puppies.
take care of the puppies. Mine haven't moved. So.
I saw him running in the background while she was talking. I was like, there he is. He's
So
like, you
cute.
can't have fun without me.
Sorry about that.
We saw his tail in the background. I was like, there he goes.
Oh my gosh.
Back and forth. Monica asked if you're a pantser or a plotter.
Oh, I'm such a pantser. Anytime I've ever plotted anything, it's completely changed every single time. So yeah, no. There's so much. I even when I fancy myself a plotter, it changes. So
has anything ever then surprised you while you're writing?
Has what?
Has anything like surprised you as you're writing then, since you don't super plan it out?
Oh gosh, yes. Tons of things, but now I'm, you know, drawing a blank on it. I know that originally when it came to Funny Feelings, thought that I might have to do like the big third act breakup for a bit. And then I just couldn't. I just was like, it wasn't even like it was a choice. It didn't make sense for them after they were already like good communicative friends to get to that point and to decide, nope, never mind. This is, you know, why I'm too scared to work through this. So that was something that changed. I'm trying to think of what else, you know. In the beginning of the co-op, it was going to be like they were going to be hooking up a lot earlier in the book. But like, you know, well, we're just in this situation, might as well, you know, do this while we're here. And then I was like, nope, that doesn't feel right for them either. They're not gonna want to concede that kind of vulnerability. It was important for them to become friends. So one of these days I'm gonna have fun writing a friends with benefits book or something, though, just so I can make myself miserable waiting and waiting and waiting.
We'll be waiting.
I love it. We still love it.
So for Funny Feelings, what was your like inspiration for the American Sign Language rep? Because I thought that was very cool. In there.
Well, the deaf community has always been special to me, and that entire, just, you know, the way that there's no limitation on understanding, and even though it's a different way of understanding, like it's a different frame of reference, and I kind of, for me, a lot of it was symbolic of like what it is to write something and to have it land, because it's flat on paper, especially when it comes to humor and feeling. how you don't get to put your voice in it, you like with inflection, with every you don't get to step into somebody's head and make them understand what you're trying to convey. And so just like humor and sign language, without the funny voices and without the like it's a different frame of reference, but there's no limit on understanding and how you can still achieve the same outcome.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I didn't think about it.
Thank you.
That was one of my favorite parts of the book, though, was the daughter. So I really loved, especially the main character's connection with the daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. That was very important to me. That sometimes I've read single parent books where the kid does just kind of feel like too much of an accessory or something that just moves the plot along. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure that that was not the case with them, because that would be also a relationship at risk for them moving forward in the romantic aspect. And that needed to be a factor.
Mm-hmm. And you said you did a lot of research for Funny Feelings. I did get a question on Instagram about if there were any like real life comedians that inspired the book. And then I also wondered, like, where did you come up with the idea of a comedian romance? Like, I've never read a romance with a female comedian, especially. So both of those questions.
I am just a huge fan of stand-up, always have been. And it was, I found myself watching a lot of it after Rootbound had gone out for a few months and everything. And when I was just kind of going through like a blue period, honestly, because it is one of my favorite things to reach for when not, it's being chemically depressed and having like a period of time where you're just kind of in the mental pits is different. And so sometimes sitting down and putting funny stuff in my face is what makes everything else feel a little bit lighter and a little less heavy, And I found myself watching a ton of it, and comedians just get especially female comedians are very judged. And I wanted to write, especially after I got that a nasty message from, nobody, but I thought, like, this person is judging me so hard for the language and the certain things that I put into my book. But like, does she not realize that like it's such a deeply feeling, actually very nice person. And it made me think of comedians and how they go up on stage and, lay themselves out there, don't care about making a fool of themselves, don't care about telling these seemingly super embarrassing stories. And sure, some of them are made up for their act and everything, or embellished for their act, but like, you don't always know that. And so they're giving you a piece of themselves and people judge them for it, but they're probably some of the most deeply sensitive people out there. And I just kept thinking, like, I could write a very sweet, very like heartfelt story and have the main character be a comedian and show, that a character that contains multitudes, I guess, in a way. Like, we're not all one archetype. It's very rare for any of us to be all one thing anymore. You can be raunchy and loud and obnoxious and still be the sweetest human being. So I really just wanted to do that. In terms of specific comedians, there's too many. I really love Eliza Schlesinger. So I don't know. I can't say her last name. When it came to when I was thinking of Shauna and Kara, I was thinking of Ali Wong and Tiffany Haddish. So that imagining, them, and I mean, gosh, there's so many though. There's so many jokes that were in that were somewhat inspired by other bits that I had seen.
And Cheryl asked if you discovered any new stand-up comics from your research.
I mean, I'm kind of I like to nerd out on them. Actually, my friend Kristen had pointed out one that I hadn't while I was writing that, and that was Neil Brennan, and he actually wrote with Dave Chappelle for the Chappelle Show and everything for a really long time. I don't know that they're like associated anymore, but I watched 3 mics, and it was one of the most interesting stand-ups I've ever seen, because he goes into a lot about his deep depression, and some of it is so profound and like not in, a funny ha-ha way, but he makes you really get in your feels, and then he makes you laugh. So he was brilliant. He was somebody new that I discovered.
I really like this, where they said they love the scene where she thinks her therapist doesn't like her because she didn't laugh at her.
That was a little, that was based on my reality. So,
but I do love it because like she was like this very loud stand-up comedian, but then the romance was just so wholesome and just adorable and sweet. And the friends to lovers.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And then like there's the flashbacks to the moments where like it was almost, but then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that just like kills me every time I read that in a book.
I loved that. When Harry Met Sally is one of my favorite movies of all time, just so I really thought about like that whole exploration of friends developing to lovers was really exciting to me. And I had the whole tattoo idea planned and out for forever, just because it was like these two people that were pining for each other, but deeply cared about the respect they had for each other too. But Meyer just kind of breaking and like wanting to put something permanent on his body about it was like,
so good.
I love that.
So I feel like Friends to Lovers is just so underrated. Like not a lot of people love it. I'm like, oh wait, it can be done.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
It's become one of my, because when it's done right and when they have like legitimate stakes at hand, because sometimes it's like there has to be more. It can't just be like, well, I just don't want to risk our friendship. But why don't you want to risk your friendship? Because your families have always been friends, and tearing that up is going to be awkward for the rest of your life. What else is there? There's got to be like, and so for them having a working relationship dynamic and Hazel being involved made the stakes high enough for me to buy into the reasons that they wouldn't communicate well enough that would have happened earlier.
Well, I liked how Farley also, because she, like you said, was a comedian, and like you said, they always hide like those deep vulnerabilities. Yeah. And she was all like, maybe I'm too loud and too crass and too vulgar for him to even be attracted to me, which is like a thing, right? In her head. Oh, yeah. A lot of women can relate to that. Like, maybe I'm too loud for him.
Yeah. And she said like, I have surprisingly few prospects for a woman that openly tells a joke on stage about throwing up in my purse and carrying it around all night. Like, and she like is constantly thinking about those things about like, oh my God, I can't believe I've simulated doggy style on a stage before while he was there. Like when you start to think about those things, I would be so embarrassed. But like, he loves her because of all of that, not in spite of, but it's part of what made him love her. So, and that's kind of my biggest thing. I want somebody that was in the co-op too, when Loren is like scowling and looking scary. I'm sorry. And
we love her
Deacon to be like, that's my wife, to just like be so proud that that's this scary, mean looking person is his. And I'm like, I just want somebody to look at my resting bitch face and think like,
me too.
It's mine.
Yeah, that's mine. She's mine.
That is so funny.
I like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. There are a couple questions about the co-op. So did anything inspire the co-op? And then any favorite scenes?
I know what my favorite scene is.
What's your favorite scene?
The part where he's like, it hurts. And she's like,
Yeah.
what hurts? And like that is my scene. That is my scene. I almost cried.
I loved that scene. I loved writing it. I loved the build up to it. I didn't even realize until after that I had accidentally kind of snuck in like a one bed moment before that.
Mm-hmm.
But just piling on the misery a little bit to where it felt like he was, going to come out of his skin. A good jealousy scene makes me so happy.
So good.
Even if it's unhealthy, it makes me really happy. I would say that getting to that point was also my favorite scene because when they finally break, they're done for. They're gone for each other. I see somebody asked what specifically inspired the co-op. I would say because we built our house, and I mean we lived in our fifth wheel for 6 months, 2 dogs, 2 kids while we were doing it, and just all the misery that comes with building a house and a home projects. I caught myself thinking like, oh my God, could you imagine having to like, I can't imagine ever doing this again with somebody that I love again, let alone somebody I hate. And could you imagine like, what would it look like to write a love story about people that already don't like each other, that get put in this situation and have to somehow fall in love. And so, yeah, that was what inspired that.
It was the best marriage counseling, I think.
Yeah, so without actually having access to a marriage counselor, huh?
Yeah, it was good. Because, they say IKEA furniture is like when you build IKEA furniture together. Yeah. It's a great way to bond and communicate. I've felt that way about this.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I thought it was so funny the shower and the washer come up at the same time. And so then like when he accidentally does it or like it's actually done to her, he's like, oh no, that wasn't on purpose. And it was like so funny.
Oh, it was great. He was like this, she's gonna think I did this on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love when men are afraid a little bit. So
because he's like they're finally on their good sides, and he's like, oh no. I ruined everything.
Yeah,
he's like, unplug
it. And that actually, so my mom lived in Santa Cruz for a year, and it like the house layout and this whole thing is based on that house that she was living in. She was living in the upstairs unit, and that happened, and because of the same reasons, like the Santa Cruz plumbing, I don't know, there was some weird stuff happening. And so taking a shower and doing all that after that you did feel a little afraid. It wasn't as dramatic as I put it in the book. It just kind of gurgled up. It didn't, wasn't like old people, but yeah.
That's so funny.
That scene was hilarious.
And then someone asked about the epilogue. Did you always know when you were writing how it would end?
Yeah, I did. I knew that I was going to have them flash ahead. At first I thought I was going to have them flash ahead to like Halloween a few years later or something, and have it be like a cutesy Halloween with a kid and stuff like that. But then I had this idea where I was like, you know what, I bet they would make a really hot like Gomez and Morticia, and it was like the book kind of ended during that exact time of year anyway, so it worked out perfectly for that to be the end of the regular part of the book. And I really just wanted, especially for them with their backgrounds and how they kind of had to earn their happily ever after. And especially like they both just really wanted that. They didn't want big, crazy things. They wanted a simple life in their house together. And so I really wanted them to have that big, happily ever after without them doing anything crazy. You know, they're not off on some big trip on their anniversary or anything. They're in their house, and that's what they got, you know, their dream life.
No.
The Dottie thing has been in the back of my head for like a couple of books. I kind of have saved that little morsel, and so I was excited to use that for them.
I did want to ask you about your covers. I almost forgot about this. How do you do your covers? Do you have someone design them for you? Do you like tell them what you're looking for? Because they're gorgeous. I love your covers so much. And I feel like even though they're illustrated, they still like really stand out among the illustrated covers out there. So what is your whole process like?
I do try to make it so they don't look the same as, you know, everything else. I'm not, Sam from Ink and Laurel is who designs on my covers, and she's really good about being patient with me and letting me send her 800 ideas. You know, I'm weird about, I get super picky about faces, so I try to avoid the faces.
Yeah. You do.
So that's kind of where that inspires some of the pose ideas and stuff.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and I try to think of how I really want him to feel like the book would feel. Like, this, you know, obviously with Funny Feelings, they're not standing in flowers, but it feels a little bit dreamy and whimsical like that. Like, and it's a friendship blooming into something else. So, you know, at the risk of sounding a little too artsy fartsy about it, that's kind of what I try to make it feel like that. And especially, and with the co-op, I wanted it to feel like you were like a fly on the wall or a fly on the ceiling in that case, looking in on this couple, and you know, what they're going through.
I love it. Of course, the umbrella on Funny Feelings, you had to have it.
Yes.
So nice. So cute. And I just like the tone of colors you use too. Yes. I think they're just really pretty.
I'm such a neutrals kind of gal that even if I ever have like a pink cover, it's probably going to be like dusty pink, or, you know, I don't know.
We love pretty. Dusty pink.
Yeah. Dusty rose.
It's just like not too in your face. Like, it's very subtle, and the covers, like, once you read the book, the covers, because like when you read Funny Feelings, right, the cover doesn't make sense in terms of like the umbrellas. Like, you see the couple, but you're like, oh, what's the umbrellas in the rain? And then when you read it, it like means so much more.
So much more.
Read the book. I'm like, oh, I can't look at umbrellas the same.
I love that. I love that I've either ruined or enhanced umbrellas for people all over the place.
Before we got on here, Caitlin and I were talking about signings next year. Are you going to any book signings?
I am. I am going to Rare London, which I'm so excited about. I've never been to Europe, so I'm going to London in July. I can't wait for that. And then I am going to be at the RomCon in LA next August, and I think it's actually the first day of it is actually on my birthday or the day after. I don't know, but yeah, I'll be at that one too. So far, and I don't know. We'll see if we'll do some other ones anywhere.
Yay!
I don't know yet.
Because are you U.S. based or Canada based?
I'm U.S. based.
Oh, I never know.
California.
People surprise me and they say they're in Canada. I was like, I never knew.
Yeah.
Oh, so the RomCon isn't too far. Well, I mean, California's giant, but
yeah,
at least it's on your coast.
Southern California. It's an hour plane ride away.
Okay,
that's not bad.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff tends to be west or central of the U.S. So
Yeah, I feel like I'm in Northern California, so I feel like most of it is Southern California, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Caitlin's going to Seattle, so
that's you are.
I'm going to Seattle in I think the end of April. They're having a signing there. Love in Seattle. It's going to be in Seattle. It's my first time, so
I've been to Seattle once, and I absolutely loved it. I'd love to go back.
I'm gonna take an umbrella, like a tour.
Yeah. They'll know you're a tourist, but that's okay.
I'm shopping for rain boots and everything.
Perfect.
But it's like the literal opposite side of the country for you, Caitlin. So
it's gonna be a long plane ride.
That's all right. Bring lots of books.
I'll bring lots of books and sleep a lot too.
Yes.
But no, before we go, I really want to know. So in the world of Tarah, what's next after the
gosh.
If you can tell us.
Okay, so I am working on a couple of things right now, and for some reason, it's like they all are, want my attention, and so I've never done this before, where I'm having just focused all my attention on one thing, so that's a little bit different for me right now. But I have one thing that I'm working on that's separate and new that I'm still trying to be a little quiet about, but I can tell you that I have a book planned that is a spinoff from the co-op, and that is a book for Elise and Jensen. And so that has been fun to dabble with. Yep. And I don't know any dates or anything like that yet, but
we'll be patiently waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how many books you hope to publish next year?
Hopefully 2. I'm trying. I mean, I should try to stick to 1, but we'll see.
Well, we're very excited.
We'll listen to the audios while we wait. I'll be listening to Funny Feelings again.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm nervous but excited. I can't wait to
Are you
hear
in the process of doing audios for the other 2 as well, on top of Funny Feelings?
I have dates for all of them, and they're on I did a post about the dates for the other 2 as well. I think February is when the co-op comes out. So I don't have them memorized. I should, but it's on my Instagram.
Yay.
All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Any last minute questions? Someone said we need to get Funny Feeling umbrellas made. Oh, that's Hannah again.
That would be cool merch.
That would be a really good idea. I have tried to find an umbrella that sounded like the one that Fee had. And I kind of, shot myself in the foot with that description, because there's a lot going on that umbrella, and there isn't one out there like that. So I have to get a custom umbrella, I guess.
That's funny.
You can get it made. It's fine. It'll be special. Okay, well, if we have no other questions, then we have been on here an hour already. I'm always like, how are we going to fill an hour? But like, oh my God, it's already been an hour. Like, they always fly by. So
I can ramble on for free. So
well, we love listening
to
you about everything.
Oh gosh. Yes. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, and I hope you're feeling better. I know you've been under the weather for a while.
I'm sorry if you had to hear any of my barking, but I'm fine. It was God, it feels like I think it was about 3 weeks of sickness in total, because I got 2 things back to back. I do not recommend that.
No, thank you. All right, well, check out Tarah's books. They are all on Kindle Unlimited. Funny Feelings is coming out audio this month, which is super exciting. So make sure you check out her books. I should have your Instagram link down below, and Caitlin's link down below too. Caitlin, thank you for joining as well. You immediately came to mind when I asked Tarah for the interview. I was like, Caitlin, you're joining.
I was like,
I'm so glad. I loved it.
Well, everybody, thank you. And that's all we have. So we will see everybody later. Bye.
Thank you guys again.